my skin so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Oh, yes. The three amigos are back. It's the Wolves Group Chat. Phil Mackey, the brain trust of Score North, Purple Daily, and other podcasts. I can't remember. They have an offensive line podcast. They have a hockey podcast, Flagrant House. And Colin Cowherd's boss, Scott Shapiro, he could fire him with one phone call.
One phone call. Is he going to make it right now on the Kilborn podcast?
These days you can do it by text, so you never know.
What's the coldest, most callous way you've fired someone, Scott? Go.
Always do it with heart. Always do it with grace.
Oh, what a nice guy. Why can't you be like that when you're rooting for the Wolves? When you're yelling at Scott Foster.
Man has a family. Yeah.
So, Jaden McDaniels, we got the word today, week to week. What's your reaction, Scott?
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he is such a big part of this team. He's the soul. He sets the defensive tone. I'm worried. And quite frankly, I'm already looking at the schedule and realizing, oh boy, are we going to be locked into the 6th seed again? But if that's the case, it would ideally be a rematch against the Lakers in that same 3-6 matchup. But this is a far better Laker team than it was last year. But before we pinpoint the matchups, this team has done a tremendous job with Ant being out. Fantastic job of rediscovering rules. Everyone's stepping up. Okay. Let's see if they can do this. Let's see if they can create a defensive identity without Jaden. It's a big challenge. They only have a couple weeks to do it, but let's see what they got.
Phil, your reaction today, I saw your text. You were scared that Jaden's out. You're frustrated.
Panic.
Yeah.
Panic. I mean, it's kind of amazing. And I'm going to play the woe is us Minnesota sports card here. Why can't anything good happen to us? Blah, blah, blah. But because Jaden looked like something was off. It was the overtime. It was the historical overtime game, wasn't it? That where they were down, they came back against the Rockets.
Yeah,
and
he got hurt in that game. He played at Boston, but yes.
But it was deemed cramping after the game, and I think even he had told he probably just wanted to buy himself some time, but. Classic that we go from it's just a cramp and he'll be back next game to it's a little knee thing, he's going to be out for a game, and now we're week, not day to day, week to week, with just a few weeks left until the playoffs, and he's so frustrating sometimes because he can carry this team as the second best player on the team for stretches, but then he goes through stretches where he's kind of wallflowered Jaden, but we've seen a lot more franchise Jaden than not the last 3 months. So it's a huge loss for sure.
So I have good news. We're recording this Monday. We're at Dallas tonight. Io is back. I don't know if you guys saw that. He's available tonight.
Available.
My question is, who loves Io more, Phil Mackey, Scott Shapiro, or Craig Kilborn?
Yeah. Let's all fight for the ranking. Isn't he fun to watch?
Yeah,
the calf injuries scare me, so I'm a little nervous about the pace that he plays at. But Craig loves high efficiency offensive players. You're a big field goal percentage guy, and didn't I see something a couple weeks ago that Jaden and Io were 1 and 2 in, if you count effective field goal percentage. They're the only two guys who are shooting over 50% from the floor. 40% from 3, and then a certain level of effective field goal percentage among everyone in the league. Those guys are at the top.
Yeah, Scott, are you surprised at how good Io is?
I am. Now I trust Tim. So Tim cooked, and guess what? We got a great player at good value, and let's hope we keep him. But it's almost like you're playing a video game back in the day and you're putting it on turbo mode. And somehow he is able to play fast, but still be responsible. And it's a rare thing. Usually you see those guys that are reckless, they turn over the ball, and he knows what he's doing. He knows where he's going. He's got that nice soft touch on the shot. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is I love him, to answer your question, because look who he ultimately took over for. The guy that was supposed to be in that role this year. And I'm not talking about Conley because he's very old. And yes, he was traded twice, but there is a guy named Rob Dillingham who a year ago on this podcast, literally a year ago, I said, I don't know if he's a future starter on this team. I don't know if long-term he'll be the second best player and Ant's wingman. And that was a controversial take. I got off of this thinking, man, I was a bully to Dillingham. I was really hard on him. Maybe I should lighten up. And look what happened in a year. Yeah. So this is exactly what we wanted Dillingham to be. Now, unfair to him because he was so young. But Ayo is serving that role, and if he's healthy for the playoffs, that's a major weapon we have.
We didn't know at Kentucky he was 5'5" either. That was the other thing. No, he's very tiny. He's diminutive. What I love about Ayo, there's so many things. I guess I hadn't seen him play enough at Chicago. I didn't know he was that fast, rocket Rod Foster, explosive, fast. And the game at Boston, when you can get a layup in the half court offense, not in the transition, but in the half court offense, I just go crazy. And he was at the top of the key and drove left and laid it in with the right hand. And I just go, this is so I'm just really enjoying this Ayo experience, and I'm fired up for him. I know I told you guys this, but I like to repeat it. I think I had you guys on, or maybe I texted you. But when they traded him, the Bulls, all the Bulls fans were tweeting, oh, no, not Ayo. We love Ayo. And then David Axelrod, who's from Chicago, said, hey, Timberwolves fans, you got a good one. This guy's special. And so I love him, and I hope he stays healthy. I did want to ask you, which game did you enjoy more, the Celtic win to break a 20 years of losing in Boston, or the comeback against the Rockets?
Man, the Rockets game was, the Celtics game was fun, but the Rockets game was probably one of the most noteworthy regular season win. I would say one of the, I don't want to be too hyperbolic here, but one of the 8 to 10 most noteworthy regular season wins in my life watching the Timberwolves, because no one, didn't we see the list in the play-by-play era of biggest overtime comebacks?
Yeah.
And the Wolves were the victim of the previous. It was a 9-point comeback on the Christmas Day game against the Nuggets. And so to the swings, I mean, to blow an 11-point lead with 3 minutes left is very Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But they also have some crazy comebacks, that Thunder comeback from last year, and then you sprinkle in some Scott Foster just to make it a little more fun. March NBA. I mean, I would probably give personally the nod to the Rockets comeback.
I can't, because I can't handle blowing the 11-point lead and then going down 13.
It was like a 26-2 run by the Rockets.
I can't handle that. So I liked how well we played in the second half at Boston. Scott, what did you think of those two games?
This is a Sophie's Choice type question. Young people, look it up. Do yourself a favor and look it up. Here's what I'll say. I was at many of those losses at the Boston Garden. So I'd probably went to 5 out of those over the 21 years. I hate Boston fans. They are incredibly privileged. They were back in the Super Bowl this year. I hate Boston. I want them to lose at that building all the time. So that win was euphoric. But there was a player that Tim was going for in the offseason. His name is Kevin Durant. We thought we had him. Ant thought we had him, and he didn't want us. What better way than to have him come into our building less than a year later and absolutely humiliate him?
Yeah.
It was incredible. For the guy that turned our franchise down, we showed it to him. And yeah, it's just a regular season game, but for Timberwolves fans, that felt good.
He missed that free throw.
The best.
Can't believe that. Yeah. So when is Ant back? Does anyone have a prediction or no?
I believe it's tonight.
I thought he had to. I already thought he had to ramp up for a while.
Is he? Well, did you see the full injury report?
No,
what was the thing?
I just checked on Ayo. I wanted to see.
I think he has to play.
He's questionable, so he
has to play tonight. if he wants to qualify for the season end, all NBA first or second team, and then the money that comes with that, he
Right.
has to play every game starting with the Dallas game. So see.
DeSumo, calf soreness available, questionable. Edwards out.
Yep.
McDaniels, Zakarski, two-way.
Yeah. And I'll say this, whether Ant plays tonight or not, I'd love for him to be all NBA. He deserves it. That would be fantastic. Honestly, I'm in this for the long game. I want him as fresh and as healthy as possible for that very first playoff game. And I love the way the Wolves have played in the interim. And listen, we're not going to be in the last year. We were risking the play in when we got the 6th seed. We got hot at the end and avoided it. We're not. Phoenix is enough ways back that I think even without Jaden, we're going to be okay. I just want Ant healthy. And if this still elevates other roles, we'll take Ant back when we get him. But I've loved how this team has played without him.
So last season, I didn't want the Lakers in the first round. And I definitely thought we could play with them, but I was worried about big shot Luka, and I was worried about the refs because I thought, well, the NBA made this trade happen and they want Luka to advance. I obviously would like Houston in the first round. Who do you guys fear more? Who do you want to avoid more, Denver or the Lakers?
Oh my gosh. I feel like it is likely one of those two teams. I don't fear any of them because I feel like the Timberwolves, this warrants Jaden McDaniels being healthy, at least like 80% of Jaden McDaniels. You have to have your main 9-man rotation at least healthy enough to be effective. But I think this is the deepest Timberwolves team that has ever been carried into the playoffs on paper. Now, because they added some of these guys late and Kyle Anderson hasn't played with this group for 2 years and he's sort of assimilating back in, how quickly can they gel together? But I don't think they've had a 1 through 9. And that, by the way, that cutoff comes before you tap into maybe a Jalen Clark if you need to, or a Beranger if you need some extra size and athletic ability. So if those 9 guys can play at the peak of their capabilities and they can find the right lineup combinations, it's more about the Timberwolves to me than it is the opponent.
Right.
I think there's some fun series to be parsed out. So I don't fear any, like in terms of like who's more. I think the Wolves beat any of those teams in the first round, and then we'll see what happens in the second round if they can gel together the way that we've seen with Ant out with some of these units.
Yeah, I'm prepared. I'm prepared that we could get upset in the first round, even if we're the 6th seed. I'm calling it an upset because we've been to the Western Conference Finals twice. Mm-hmm. But I also believe in this squad. Scott, do you want to play? It's hard to say, I'd rather play against Jokic than the Lakers, but it seems like the Lakers are just red hot. And it was so weird because they were in disarray earlier in the season where they said they couldn't play any defense. Who would you rather play, the Nuggets or the Lakers?
So I have very clear thoughts on that. And I will admit I play the standing games and the scenario game in my head way too often. So I've thought about all of this. Now, disclaimer before I answer the question, last year we finished 17-4. We are red hot going into the playoffs, but we get the 6th seed. And we drew the Lakers. And I was so crushed. I thought the NBA wasn't going to let us beat them. And I thought, all right, Luka, LeBron, they were still in that honeymoon stage. I thought we had no shot despite being hot. And there was no sweeter feeling than beating them.
Game one was amazing. We shot the lights out. They weren't ready.
The best, the absolute best. Now, here's what I'll say, though, this year. I'm falling into that trap again. I do not want to play the Lakers. I think this year they are much better.
Yeah.
I love the addition of Kennard. Luka's now been there for a year. Now, Austin Reeves, we completely shut him down. I can't imagine him being that bad again in the playoffs. But something now, the Hollywood thing, I'm scared of the Lakers again. And I do believe we have Denver's number. Now, they won the season series, but I'd rather play the best player in the world, who, in my opinion, clearly is the Joker. I'd rather play the Nuggets than the Lakers. Now, the dream matchup would be the Rockets, but I think we're too far out of the 3 seed to get that.
There would 100% be fights if the Wolves and Rockets got a 7-game series.
Back to that game with the Rockets. Obviously, you guys know me. I had to turn that off in the 4th. And then I looked, I go, oh my God, we're down 6 already in the overtime. And then I saw it was 13 and I was like, and I checked and I just checked, it's fun. And I go, oh my God, there's 20 seconds left. We're up 2. But did you guys turn it off or did you guys watch it live?
Whole thing. I was in the whole way. Scott.
Okay.
So I must admit, I was celebrating my 15th wedding anniversary in Santa Barbara.
Oh, congratulations.
Eating our anniversary dinner at a tremendous Italian restaurant. And I am cheating by having the phone kind of in my lap. And the great thing was we were cruising to a victory. We were up double digits.
Yeah.
Trust me, I was having the time of my life knowing Wolves got this in the bag. I'd peak less. And I was ecstatic. And then I looked down and I see that we're going to overtime. And I literally, and my wife even said, what's wrong? And I had to play it out. Like I could not reveal that I had the phone in my lap paying attention to this. So that's our secret. Then of course it's overtime and I see what happens. And we're getting up out of the restaurant. I'm in the worst mood possible. And I still have it in the palm of my hand, keeping track of it. So on the walk from dinner to my hotel room is when it all happened. And I was skipping on the way to my room. So at that point I was intently watching, but I was committing a crime by
honey, why are you skipping up and down? Because every year of marriage just gets more delightful, my dear.
Yes.
So the thing you did there, Scott, is what I do, which is a lot of stimuli, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And Game 7 at Denver, the greatest Wolves win ever. At halftime, we were down. I can't remember. We were down 15. I don't remember we were down at halftime. I said, let's go. We're going to a bar. We're going to go to this restaurant. So I'm going to sit at the bar, have a martini, and I'll just check it on occasion. And then I saw that we came back. I said, I'm going to wait about a half hour. The game will definitely be over. I don't want a roller coaster. I want to just see. And it's one of the greatest experiences ever because it's relaxing. You're having a vodka and you're saying all this stuff. I like doing that. How much fun is it to be having dinner, other stimuli, talking, and then seeing these little rush of, oh my God, oh, this is depressing. I'm out. I mean, it's pretty fun to follow it that way, right?
There's not another way to live at this point in time with all the games that we have. Why choose life where you just have one stimuli?
Yeah, exactly.
I on the other hand, I'm like the meme where they're like making you they're pulling your eyelids back and making you watch every second of the experience.
Okay, how many times did you rewatch the overtime or at least the 15-0 run? I watched it like 5 times over 2 days just for fun. I would watch Dante. This pick for Dante hits the 3, the and 1. Kyle Anderson, the and 1 on the putback.
Don't leave out early in the run. The game looked cooked at the time, but Mike Conley hit his first.
That's
3
what started
God
it.
knows how many weeks. Yes.
Yeah, the 3-pointer in the corner. Yeah.
I love how he went, by the way, from Chris Finch. Essentially, it was like he was speaking at someone's basketball funeral the day before that Rockets game, saying it's somebody. I think it was Dane Moore asked him about having to bench Mike Conley, and Conley's been sitting, and Chris Finch said, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my career. It feels like a crime against humanity to have to bench Mike Conley. And then the next night, the injury list comes out, and Finchie's like, wait, how many guys are out? Mike, starting 30 minutes. Let's go. Right. Warm up the hamstrings, buddy.
Finchie adores Mike Conley. He has so much respect for him. So in rewatching that overtime, what I saw was Kyle Anderson grabbing and holding KD, and I loved it. Kyle was playing D on KD. He does that. I saw him strip Luka years ago when Luka was in Dallas. You know when he does the poke away when he did with Ja Morant. Yeah. So maybe Kyle will be a nice little defensive stopper on occasion in the playoffs. Do you guys love Kyle back on the squad?
By the way, Scott, I think they have a better defensive net rating, small sample size, with Kyle Anderson on the floor since he came back than the Rudy on the floor defensive rating. So Kyle Anderson is kind of the key to the non-Rudy defensive woes in a 2.5 week sample so far.
I'll tell you, I love Kyle Anderson, and it's funny because I didn't truly love him until he was gone. I really liked him as a Wolf, and I understood his value. But I happened to see him play 2 times live when he was gone, once in Miami with the Heat and then once when he was at Jazz. And because I didn't care about the outcome of those games, I literally only watched Kyle Anderson. My eyes were glued to him in both of those games. It was a Bucks Heat game and a Jazz Clipper game. And I watched him, and I gained so much respect for every single thing he did on the floor, orchestrating offensively, stopping folks defensively in his classic slow-mo mode. I loved him. So when they brought him back, I was beyond excited, way more excited than any human should have been.
Well, I love passing, and he does these subtle things. In the Rockets game, he just held at the top of the key, and he looked at Dante like, go back door. They're overplaying you. And he bounced it to Dante, who made that reverse layup part of the run. And I saw him do that in a previous game with Io. He's told him to go back door. I mean, he just did something physically, ball like go back door, and he got an easy layup. And they asked Io about it in the locker room. He said, yeah, he texted me at 7 a.m. and said, this is available, this back door. And Io called him a savant. So it's fun to have him back. I want to play the Nuggets. That sounds weird. I want to avoid the Lakers for various reasons, but I think it's going to be rough. But we'll see what happens. Any predictions? You think we get to the Western Conference Finals or not?
I'll go first. I don't. And here's what I think. In a dream scenario, I mean, I wanted the 2 seed, but once San Antonio ran away with that, what I really wanted was the 3 seed, and I wanted the 2 Texas teams en route to the Western Conference Finals. So I wanted Houston in round 1, and I wanted San Antonio in round 2. And I admire what they've done, and Wemby's incredible. Castle's incredible. Fox, they are such a good team, but I look at them as I look at, in my dreams at least, I look at them how Houston last year was the 2 seed. Now, they didn't make it out of the first round. They lost in 7 to Golden State last year. But Houston was a 2 seed who was very inexperienced. San Antonio this year, 2 seed, very inexperienced. I want to avoid OKC as long as we can. And even if, let's say, we get the 5 seed and we have to fight through Denver, then the gift is OKC. Like, that's tough. So I think the odds are, listen, gambling odds, whatever you want to look at, the likelihood of us getting to the Western Conference Final this year, very, very slim and difficult. Can they do it? Sure. But we got a lot of breaks last year. I don't know if we're going to get those breaks this year.
Uncle Phil?
To piggyback my point about this being the deepest team that we've seen on paper going into a Wolves playoff stretch, I do believe there is a world in which they win the championship this year.
Well,
I don't think it's likely, but I think there's a non-zero chance that the Wolves win the championship this year. But I think there's a better chance either OKC or San Antonio. I mean, those 2 teams, OKC for all the reasons they're set up to be a dynasty if they stay healthy. Scott's point about San Antonio is an interesting one in that sometimes you get these teams that arrive like a year early. They're a regular season phenom, and this kind of happened to OKC a few years ago too. And they're just not quite ready for a veteran team that's been through the grind of 2 months in the playoffs. I could see that. I also could see Wemby just being that generational dude on both sides of the ball and kind of skipping the line, because there tends to be unless you get grandfathered in with a ready-made superstar, like Kobe got Shaq early and then Dwayne Wade got Shaq early, and there's been some examples like that. Usually you have to sort of go through a process before you win a championship that takes 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's possible Wemby is so good that he gets to skip the line on that process. And so that's going to be something interesting to watch.
He's ahead of where I thought he would be. I think for the Wolves, the injuries are throwing me off right now. I do think we can play with anybody. I always say before the playoffs, we'll go as far as Ant takes us. But we need all these other guys who, Julius Randle's mercurial sometimes. Dante can be ice cold. Nas is pretty consistent, but he can be cold. I love our squad. I don't know what's going to happen. And I wish we were healthy. Then we could get a rhythm, but we'll see. Wolves pride. We love our Wolves.
Can I ask you guys a parting question here? It's maybe a little doom and gloom, but because Scott, you said you don't think they get back to the Western Conference Finals, right?
Correct.
So, which if you run into OKC or San Antonio in the second round, you get beat in 6 games or something. if they get beat in the second round and it's deemed a step back because they didn't get, now they're going backwards a little bit, on the heels of trying to trade for Durant last summer and trying to trade for Giannis. So Tim Connolly's been trying to cook something up. They almost certainly make a roster shaking trade then at that point, right? This summer,
Yes.
if they don't.
I think so. I know they're going to go after Giannis. I mean, they're going to go after Giannis, and yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. A-Rod wants that. Tim Connolly wants that. I heard Finch say once, when you have a chance to win a championship, you got to go for it. Meaning, I took that as if you can just win one, it changes everything, which it kind of does, doesn't it? Dr. J won one in the NBA. It changed everything. Joker won one. I don't know if he's going to win another one. So they're going to make some trades in the trades in the offseason if they
100%. Here's a crazy thing too. Even if they make it to the Western Conference Finals again, which I don't think they will do, I still think we would make a trade in the offseason for a couple of reasons. Tim is a gambler.
Right.
And the evidence is right in front of us. Our second best player, arguably, let's say Randall's our second best player. They tried to just trade him twice within the last year since last year's Western Conference Finals trip. They tried for Durant. They tried for Giannis. Right. He is going to keep doing this. And the question I'm most concerned about for this playoffs is Randall's psyche, because he was in a funk after he didn't get traded again this time. And with Ant out, I wanted to depend on him and be able to trust him, and I still can't. Playoffs last year was great, but our second best player, he has got to take over and not disappear as much as he has. So I just wonder if he's built emotionally and mentally for this year's playoff run.
Do you guys agree that Giannis is special still, right? And paired
worry
with
about his injuries, but yes, but there is risk now.
He is special, but I have questions. And also, the fact that you didn't get him for this year's stretch run means it's essentially a rent a contract. It's a 1-year contract because he has a player option on the second.
Because I was thinking, Scott said, even if we make the Western Conference Finals, I was saying if we win the championship, they still might try to trade for Giannis because they know how difficult it is to win with this team. Everything has to be perfect, and Giannis is so dominant. But I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be wild.
And we're going to be honest. Yeah, he's that much older by the time you get him. It's another season that you didn't have him. And there's going to be more bidders this offseason compared to when we were at the front of the line there and there was interest on his part. There's going to be, I think it's going to take a bigger offer, even though he's older and more injury prone.
I'm going to finish up with the Viking pride because I haven't talked to Scott. Phil's been talking about the Vikes for quite a while on Purple Daily. I'm going to first ask Scott this question, and then I'm going to ask Phil. Who would you rather have as the Vikings quarterback next season, this upcoming season? Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, or Kyler Murray?
Wow.
It would be Darnold. And recency bias, I will admit. But yeah, and listen, Kyler comes in with a very low price tag, okay, which is fantastic. But I already have PTSD wondering, okay, we're going to have a great year with Kyler. And who's he going to win the Super Bowl with next year? We're going to just build up another reclamation projects for some other franchise to benefit from. And I say that kiddingly, but no, Darnold would be the answer. He's proven he can do it. Jones and Murray haven't.
We let Sam Darnold go. We let him go. We could sign, if Kyler Murray played well, we could sign him to an extension. Phil, I'm sure you guys have talked about this ad nauseum, but I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Daniel Jones, but of those three guys, Sam Darnold, who would you want?
It's Darnold, just because we already know he's like door number one, wide open. We already know that he fits perfectly in this system. We know that he's capable within the right infrastructure of leading a team to the Super Bowl. Kyler Murray in this system is a little bit of a mystery box. Daniel Jones, I think, is a distant third and coming off a torn Achilles. It's actually kind of wild to turn this into Colts Daily for a second. I get what the Colts are doing, trying to bring Daniel Jones back, but he tore his Achilles, I think, in December, like early December. Probably isn't ready for the start of the season. And they still said, yeah, let's pay him, was it $45 million a year on that 2-year deal? when they could have had Kyler Murray for $1.3 million or somebody else. So interesting choice by the Colts to give Daniel Jones another bag. But the Kyler thing is going to be fascinating. He helps with a lot of the problems the Vikings had, which is like your quarterback floor has to be higher. You can't be running out Brosmer and McCarthy injured and kind of deer in the headlights. And he's not a turnover-worthy play guy if you look at some of the deep dive stats. But he's also, the last 4 years, one of the worst deeper passing quarterbacks in the league. When you look at like when the ball travels more than 15 yards in the air for Kyler Murray, metrically, he is across the board one of the worst passers in the league. Is Kevin O'Connell going to come his direction with some things? Is he going to bring him in and rehab him like he did Sam Darnold? I just think they're two totally different quarterbacks, though.
I knew about that deep passing stat because you either said it on Purple Daily or you tweeted it.
I probably rage tweeted it and then ranted about it in some form on Purple Daily.
And and it's surprising. Okay. Was there one more Viking question? KOC, I want him to do more short passes. We need a running back, don't we, or not? Or we're okay. We're okay with both the same guys back.
Is Aaron Jones the Mike Conley of the Minnesota Vikings in 2026?
Fair question.
Thank you, guys. That was fun.
Thank you.
I had to go through your people to get you guys a week in advance, but you guys are big time now.
It's always difficult, lining these hard-hitting podcasts up.
That's our show. I want to thank Scott Shapiro, Fox executive, Phil Mackey, podcasting legend in Minnesota. He's the Vern Gagne of podcasters.
That's right. That's right. I'll knock you out in a nursing home. That's right. Look out.
We'll see you next time, young people. Remember, I'm proud of you.